for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
Live from Spectrum Community Services Studios in Colorado, USA. This is the Mile High Hockey Lab.
Well, hello and welcome to the Mile High Hockey Lab. Avalanche fans, thank you so much for joining us today. I am here today with Jackie K, Brennan Vogt, Evan Liu, Ezra Parter, and my name is Adrian Hernandez. We've got a full cast of characters. The whole crew is in the house for today's edition. This is the 120th edition of the Mile High Hockey Lab. Please head on over to Spotify Podcasts or Apple Podcasts and give us a follow there so you get every single episode. You'll see all 119 previous forms of this program as well. And please head on over to the website, milehighhockey.com, where you can find all of our written material. We already got Vaguely Stats, used to be Vaguely Sober, in the comments. Says it's only shorts mode, by the way, and don't start until he's done making his tuna sandwich. So Vaguely, let us know if you're done making that tuna sandwich. Brandon, I saw you putting your hand over your Hockey Mountain High tag as well. Folks, head on over to hockeymountainhigh.com, where you can find Evan Liu and Brendan Vogt's work as well. All right, Vaguely says his sandwich is ready, so let's talk about what we're going to get into today. We're going to do a little recap on last week's action. We saw the Avs play the Ducks, Sabres, and Islanders. Plenty to talk about there. We will touch on this week's edition of the Mile High Hockey Player of the Week. And then we will look ahead at the Rangers, Predators, and Blackhawks, hash out some bold predictions, and I want to get some answers from you all as it pertains to a few polls that Jackie and I have sent out over the last couple of days on the X account, which, folks, if you don't already, please head on over to X and follow us at MHH, all caps MHH_lab, and at Mile High Hockey. All right, let's do this, friends. Let's do this right now. Jackie, what a successful homestand for the Avalanche so far. They're the top dogs in the NHL. Wonderful sight to see. Their closest competitors are New Jersey and Dallas. They've got a 31 out of a possible 38 points on the season so far, which is about an 81.5% point rate. Do you anticipate a drop off from that rate? And if so, like, how bad do you think it could get? Or are we pretty close to what we should expect from this Avalanche team going forward?
Well, it's pretty difficult for anybody to keep up 80%. So
Yeah, definitely.
that wouldn't just be being pessimistic to say probably not. It's pretty unlikely for any team.
Sure.
That would be 135 points.
Yeah.
When Boston, I don't remember what record they set, but when they had, I think it was 64 wins, I believe, it was
Mhm.
133 points. So that'd be pretty
Correct.
tough. They obviously have set themselves up for success with such a good start.
Well, yeah, you know who was on that team? Brad Marchand.
Yeah, there it is.
We
Right
made
on.
it
There
5
you
minutes.
go. I know, not even 5 minutes. We had to mention that. Yep. Sorry, I had to mention the Boston Bruins. So, but I guess the question is, what should we expect moving forward? If they stay healthy, if we don't really see a dip in their play, I mean, they could continue playing like this. I think the big thing will be the Olympic break, and I think some fans are nervous about that. Will that kill their momentum? If they keep going like this, there's not going to be much to play for after the Olympics. Like, it's just going to be like, it's already getting to, okay, when's April and when are they going to prove if they are going to do the thing or not,
Mhm.
And so I think that's a little bit of a concern, is just like we saw with the Bruins. They had a historic season. They were out in round one. It's just natural that if you really have nothing to play for and you get set on cruise control, it's really hard to get that competitive mindset back. So, like I said, I think the Olympic break will tell us a lot about where they're positioned going into that. They might not have a whole lot to do after the Olympics. Um, Maybe it's a blessing in disguise that Dallas is nipping at their heels to give them something to kind of play for.
Yep.
And an adversary to stay ahead of. But other than that, I don't know what else you can really expect at this point. I mean, you have to assume they're going to continue to play the way they play as long as they stay healthy. So and we'll just see where that stacks up.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best in saying like 81.5%. That's quite a bit. And I will say I'm glad that you brought up the Bruins record, because as you mentioned, like if this team keeps playing like this, a lot is going to be determined early on in the season. And so it'll be good to have something like that potentially to go after and to kind of be the carrot on the end of the stick. I, for one, am kind of like, I'd rather them win the Stanley Cup than like press during the regular season to break the regular season points record or wins record. But if you need something, by all means, that's a good thing to chase after. Ezra, I'm curious how you feel about kind of all of the games last week, with an emphasis on one in particular, which I want to hear from you. The Avs were great against Anaheim. They stumbled a little bit in periods 1 and 2 with the Sabres, but took care of business in the third. And I'd argue that they were pretty fortunate against the Islanders, especially when they just sent the puck out of play. But an outstanding performance from Scott Wedgwood sort of saved them in that Islanders game. Which of those 3 wins kind of sticks out to you the most after the week is done? Uh-oh, you're muted, handsome.
First of all, let me say I'm experiencing some internet issues. I don't know if it's on my side or yours. So if I go out,
Okay.
just push on without me. But I think for me, the Anaheim game obviously is a statement win against a team that's trying to make a statement against the Avs, right? We talked about that going into the game, that Anaheim had a lot to prove there, and they didn't prove anything. The Avalanche stood up to them, but I think the win that impressed me more was the Islanders one, because it did start off with a little bit of a bad play from the Avalanche, and then an unlucky play, if you want to look at it that way, with the goal that counted off of Emil Heineman's foot. That was, I think, a fine goal. I like that those count now, but definitely there's a reason to be like, hey, isn't that a kick? Because it was, but I like that those count, so I'm good with it. But that was a game where we saw the Avs really not have it and still manage to lock down the other team, get great play out of Wedgwood, which, is wonderful. And you need your goalies to step up in a time when your forwards aren't really contributing in the way that you want them to. But ultimately that became a 4-1 win, in the closing seconds, of course. But it's impressive to see a team take what seems like a bad start, what seems like a bad break, and turn it into a win where they only gave up 1 goal. I like to see that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I guess that's what's led us to this 81.5% points rate, is taking advantage of the bounces you get and not being dissuaded too heavily by the bounces that go against you. So I'd agree with that, Ezra. I think that's a solid take. Brandon, I'm curious about what you think about kind of what I've posed to Jackie and Ezra. And also, man, we talked about last week, due to Jackie bringing it up, Scott Wedgwood is the starter right now. But what sort of success would he have to realize going into the future for us to really have this sort of question as the playoffs approach? Because I feel like we're getting close to that. I know the playoffs are far away, but the body of work that Scott Wedgwood is putting out there is worthy of contemplation, I think, especially if it continues. How about you?
Well, I think if Blackwood has another couple, a few handfuls of bad starts, Wedgwood's the clear starter, and Bednar doesn't. He's made that obvious. I actually quoted it in an article that I put up on the site earlier last week, saying that he doesn't. Bednar says he doesn't want to be cruel, but the minutes for Blackwood are coming in practice, and he's got to prove himself in practice.